In the immortal words of Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes, not dead. I am in fact not dead. I'm just pretty lazy when it comes to filming videos. I don't think I've filmed one in like 5 months, but hold on, that's like really zoomed out. But we are back, and hopefully consistently, we will find out. But today I'm going to tell you my June TBR. These are most of the books I want to read in June, like for sure. There are a couple that I only have like the audiobooks for on Libby, but we will be covering those too. But this is like a kind of loose, kind of certain June TBR. I don't know. This is the second time I had to film it because the video wouldn't upload the first time. So fingers crossed. So you will be seeing this like a little bit into June, but it's still the beginning of June, so it's fine. But without further ado, let's get into the June TBR. There's no real theme to this. There's a bunch of 2025 releases and like a couple books that are going to be like completing series that I've been reading for a minute, but there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just the books that I really wanted to get to pretty soon, so I'm putting them on my June TBR in hopes that I will actually read them in June. That's the question, isn't it always? But we will see. Now, for the actual TBR. Starting up with probably the book that I am most excited for this month, it is the Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club by Martha Hall Kelly. I got that title correct in the first try, please be proud of me. But Martha Hall Kelly, if you don't know, is one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. She's amazing. I love her. If you have never read her books, do yourselves a favor, pause this video, go read all of her books, come back and thank me, because you will. I'm only half joking, like you should actually go read her books. But Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club, I'm so excited. It's a split timeline, split between 2016, where our main character's mother has just died, and she goes to Martha's Vineyard to meet this reclusive painter who like starts telling her the story of the Smith sisters, and I can only assume that one of the sisters is our main character Mary's mother. We will find out. I will find out at least, but that's what I'm guessing. And then our other timeline is in 1942, following the aforementioned Smith sisters, Cadence and Briar. And so they are trying to keep the family farm afloat during World War II. And one day Briar spots a U-boat and Cadence falls in love with, and this is like a direct quote from the blurb, a sworn enemy. I don't know exactly what that means, if that's just like a Hatfield and McCoy type situation, or if she falls in love with an actual Nazi. I don't know. I'm intrigued though. And so a whole lot of other things happen relating to the war, and like a man washes up on shore, and then like there are claims of espionage and spying, and you don't know who to trust. So for some sense of normalcy, Cadence and her best friend Bess start up this book club, and that leads to some other things. I am just so excited for this. I know I am not doing it justice at all, but I can tell you it's going to be amazing because it's Martha Hall Kelly. The only thing that does kind of give me pause is that it's split timeline, and I usually don't love like a present day timeline along with a historical timeline. But like I said, it's Martha Hall Kelly, and I trust her implicitly. So it's going to be amazing. If I had to predict at least one 5-star for June, it's going to be this one. I can already tell you that now. I have given she has 4 other books out. I've given either all 4 or 3 of them 5 stars, and the other one 4.5 if it wasn't 5 stars. I love her so much. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to read it. So this is How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin. This is the sequel to How to Solve Your Own Murder, which I read last year, and I really enjoyed that one. This series is just such a good, like, kind of cozy English village murder mystery series. And it has like this kind of twist as well that makes it like kind of unique, and I really enjoy it. This one is also a split timeline like Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club, but I think the split timeline for this series, it worked so well. At least it did in the first one, and I'm assuming it will in this one. But our present day timeline is following our main character Annie, who has just inherited her great aunt, whose murder was the subject of the first book. No spoilers though. But her great aunt's house, Castle Knoll, and she's like moving in and getting her life together when the local village psychic, which I think every village should have a local psychic. I mean, why not? But the local psychic comes to Annie and like gives her this cryptic warning message thing. Then the psychic goes and promptly dies, gets murdered. So Annie is now having to solve that mystery, and she's uncovering family secrets, and the psychic's warning like starts to come true, and so Annie's having to unravel all this. Meanwhile, we have the 1967 timeline, which is following Annie's great aunt Frances before her murder, obviously, when she was much younger, and she's like caught up in this love triangle type thing between two men, and she ends up having to team up with one of the men to investigate the car crash that killed the other man's family. It's very convoluted, very messy. I am here for it. And it sounds like she is also uncovering secrets, and I don't know how the two plots are going to intertwine, but I can't wait to find out because both of them sound so interesting, and the fact that they are going to like come together, I can't wait to see how it goes. I may reread How to Solve Your Own Murder just as a refresher before I read this. I might not. We'll see. Either way, I'm definitely reading this one this month because it sounds so good and I am so excited. The next book, it is one of two that I do not have a hard copy of, so I will put pictures of the books up here. But next up is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. You have probably heard the name Gillian McAllister because she wrote Wrong Place, Wrong Time, which I read, I think, last year or the year before. Amazing. That book blew up like a couple years ago, maybe around when it came out, I'm not sure. But it was well-deserved hype because it was so good. So I am hoping that Famous Last Words is going to live up. I have a feeling it will because the plot, the premise, sounds so good. So we have our main character, Camilla, who has her whole day planned. She's coming off maternity leave. She's going to take her daughter to her first day of daycare and then go back to her work as a literary agent. But things go kind of awry when she wakes up and her husband is gone. He is nowhere to be found, and in his place is a note that he left. And so Camilla reads this note, and then she finds out this hostage situation is going on. I want to say it's a bank. I'm not sure if it's a bank. It might be. That's not important. There's a hostage situation going on, and then the police come to her door and tell her that her husband is involved. But he's not a hostage. No, he is the gunman. And so it sounds like Camilla is the only one who may be able to stop this thing without anyone getting killed. Because she is the only one who read what her husband wrote in that note that he left, hence the title, Famous Last Words. So I'm just very intrigued to see how this goes. Because it sounds so interesting, and I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm excited. And it's very perfect timing that I'm planning on reading this in June because it takes place on June 21st, and I feel like I might have to read it on June 21st just because why not? I feel like I might have to do that. But I do have the audiobook from Libby, and I'm so excited. Next up is another one I don't have the hard copy for. It's also a book I'm getting from Libby. It is You Are Fatally Invited by Andy. I'm gonna say Pliego? I don't know. I'm most definitely butchering that name. It's the first name is Andy, the second name is like Pliego. I don't know. The point is, it is You Are Fatally Invited, and this is another new like thriller that came out a couple months ago, but it takes place on a writing retreat that is held by this very famous, reclusive, anonymous author named J.R. Allister. So Allister has hired this aspiring writer named Mila to like actually be there and host the writing retreat, and together they have set up like this week-long like little excursion of like riddles and mysteries and all the things for these thriller authors who are invited to the writing retreat to like solve. And according to the blurb, Mila had to say yes to this opportunity, not just because she wants to be a writer, but because she has a murder of her own to plan, because apparently she has a vendetta against one of the guests. I don't know if that means she is literally planning on murdering one of the guests and we have like a morally gray main character. That would be really interesting, but I don't know yet. And before Mila can do any kind of planning or put her plan into action, someone is killed, and not by her. So now Mila is like having to solve this mystery while the guests are dropping dead one by one. And so I think it's going to be really interesting. It definitely gives And Then There Were None vibes. And I know some people don't love when a book does like the and then there were none kind of thing, but I personally really love it. And then there were none was one of the first Agatha Christie's I read, and I will eat up that kind of trope every single time. I'm so excited about this one. This one, I can already tell you, it's either going to be one that I love and give like 4 or maybe 5 stars, or it's going to be one that I hate and it's going to be like a 1 star. I don't know which way it's going to swing. It's going to be one of those two, I can tell you now. I just get those vibes from it. But I'm excited to see which way it goes. Fingers crossed, I'm going to love it. I hope I will. This is the third and I believe final book in the Molly the Maid series. This one I know is kind of not really controversial, but like you either are going to love this series or hate this series, and I love this series. The characters I love so much. They're literally the sweetest characters that have ever been written, and I love them. This is literally the epitome of cozy mysteries, I feel like. I love it so much. It's amazing. But I am kind of sad this is the last book in the series. But for the plot of this book, it is following Molly, who is now like the head maid and event planner of the Regency Grand Hotel where she works. And they are having this antiques like TV show come, and so Molly has these like trinkets that she wants to get appraised, and as it turns out one is worth like millions of dollars, and I feel like we would all love to be Molly in that situation, wouldn't we? At least I would. But this like little trinket, I don't think the blurb says what it is, or I just missed that. Whatever it is worth millions of dollars, and so Molly is going to auction it off to get the money, obviously. But the day of the auction, the trinket goes missing. And so now Molly has to solve the mystery of who stole it. And apparently the key to solving this mystery is going to be found in her grandmother's old diary. And I am absolutely here to find out more of Molly's family secrets, because if you've read the other books, you know some of them, and I can't wait to find out more. And then obviously Molly has some other things going on in her personal life that I won't spoil because it is kind of a spoiler for the other books. But suffice it to say, I know this is going to be so much fun. This is definitely going to be a 4-star. It might be a 5-star. We will see. I can't wait for this. The mystery does sound a little more tame than some of the previous thrillers that have been on my list. But because I love the characters so much, honestly, they could be looking for Lent, and I would absolutely love it. So, can't wait for this. I'm also scared to read it because it is the last one, but I'm very excited, and I definitely do want to read it this month. So, definitely kind of high on my list for getting to this month. Anyway, so up next is one that I feel like was kind of popular like last year and then 23 when it came out. It is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. So I have never read anything by Cassandra Clare, and this one just sounds so interesting, and I picked it up when I was in a little indie bookshop a few months ago, and I want to finally get to it. It's definitely the longest book on my TBR for this month, but it sounds really interesting, and it feels like a summer read. No one else may agree with me on that, but to me, this type of fantasy feels like a poolside read, at least to me. So anyway, the plot is that we have the body double of the prince of this world. I do not remember what this world is called. It's probably some fantasy name I cannot pronounce, but we have him, and his name is Kel. His name is Kel, and then we also have Lynn, who is like a physician for her village, and the people like in her community like still possess magic, so I'm not sure if she does or if it's just people around her. But Kel and Lynn are brought together after an assassin attempt, I assume, on the prince, but they are brought together, so they end up involved with the criminal underworld, which is like ruled, kind of like run by their leader called the Rag Picker King. So I feel like that's going to be interesting to find out how these two end up from assassination attempt to criminal underworld. That's going to be interesting. And so they're like uncovering secrets and probably like sinister plots, and it just sounds really interesting. I feel like I'm not doing it justice, but it sounds really, really interesting, and it just feels like I'm gonna enjoy reading this like by the pool and in the summer. I'm excited, and also whoever like designed this or printed this, this is the best floppy paperback that I have seen in a very long time. Look at this. It lays like perfectly flat. I'm obsessed already. Like, I'm so excited to read this. So fingers crossed. I have a feeling it's gonna be a 4-star. I'm hoping for a 5-star, but I'm excited, and the sequel came out earlier this year, so maybe that will get added to my TBR for later in 2025. We will see. So this is one that I saw in Barnes & Noble one day, and I thought it looked really interesting, and so I figured that I would give it a go. But it is The Busybody by Kemper Donovan. So this one is following a former senator named Dorothy Gibson, who has just recently run for president, and the vote was like split or something, and people are blaming her for the results. So don't know what kind of political stuff is going on there, but something. And so she like retreats back to like the little town in Maine where she's from, and she brings her ghostwriter with her, who the book is written, I believe, from the first person perspective of the ghostwriter, who I also believe remains nameless throughout the book, which is that kind of a little gimmicky? Yes, but do I think that's also kind of cool to make the ghostwriter nameless? I also do think that, yes, it's going to be, I think, very interesting. So Dorothy and her unnamed ghostwriter are up in Maine, and one of their neighbors ends up dying under some rather mysterious circumstances. And so Dorothy decides that she and her ghostwriter are going to investigate the death because she is convinced that there is a killer in their midst, and so they are going to find out who did it. And so I think this is just going to be a good murder mystery. I think the ghostwriter twist is going to be interesting, but I'm excited. I'm not sure if this is going to be a new favorite. It could be, but I do think I'm going to enjoy it. And I also believe that a sequel to this came out recently, and I want to say that one's set on a ship, and that sounds really interesting too, so I'm hoping I like this, so I'll want to read the sequel, but we will find out. Alright, so for my kind of penultimate book-ish, you'll understand that in a second, but for my kind of penultimate book, it is the only reread of this TBR. It is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I feel like we all know Shatter Me, don't we? I feel like we do, so I won't bore you. You know, the dystopian and all that. We all know Aaron Warner. So I read Shatter Me last spring, and I enjoyed it. It was like, I want to say like 4 stars, I think. I enjoyed it. But it wasn't a favorite, but I did want to read the rest of the series. But it's been over a year, and I don't think I remember enough of book 1 to continue with the series, and so I've been wanting to reread it, and a couple weeks ago I saw this edition at Barnes & Noble, and I'm fully obsessed with it, and it's giving me, I feel like, a good excuse. Look at that. A good excuse to reread this one and then continue on with the series. But I'm excited. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and I think I am going to enjoy the series as it progresses. I'm very excited to see the Aaron Warner character development because there needs to be some for everyone to be obsessed with him, because this is not the Aaron Warner everyone is obsessed with, I am sure. I could be wrong, but I'm not. I don't think I am. Anyway, this is my only reread for the TBR. I'm sure I'm going to have some other rereads that I'm just not cementing for the month. We will see, but I'm excited, and yeah. Alright, so the last book, it's kind of a twofer. Well, it is a twofer because it is the last 2 books in the Emily Wilde series. I only have one. The other one is also one that I'm getting from Libby, but the one that I have is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, and then I'll put the picture up here. Book 3 is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. The Compendium of Lost Tales just came out in February, I think. It was sometime this year. But I am very excited to read these 2. This is another one where I might read the first book just because it's been almost 18 months since I read that. So I don't remember a lot about the world. I remember enough. Like, I definitely enjoyed the first book, and I love Emily and Wendell. I can understand how some people may not like this series because it is definitely a more slower paced fantasy, and like, there's not high stakes. It's just like cozy. It's very cozy, I think, and I enjoyed it. I really did like Emily and Wendell, like I said, and the writing style I thought was so charming because it's supposed to be written by Emily Wilde, who's like, what is she? A says a scholar of fairy folklore. I was about to say a scientist, but like a scholar of fairy folklore. And so it's like she's writing these like in her world about the fairies. And so it will have, if I can find anywhere with it, it will have like little, you can see, footnotes at the end of some of the pages. And I just think that's like a clever little thing added on. But I'm excited. I'm honestly have not even looked at what the plot of books 2 and 3 are. I kind of want to just go in blind because I know enough about the world that, you know, and like I said, I might do a reread, but I kind of just want to go in blind and enjoy it. But I am excited to read both of these books. But yes, that is my June TBR. Comment what you are going to be reading in June, and if you have read any of these books and if you think that they were good or anything. But I'm definitely excited to get to all of these, especially this one. We all know Martha Hall Kelly. I love her. She can do no wrong. I'm super excited. But definitely let me know what you're planning to read in June, and if you haven't, subscribe and like the video and all the other things. But hopefully after this I will get on a more consistent schedule of posting on Saturdays. I know this one's coming out like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but some things got screwed up. But I'm hoping to post like every Saturday, maybe every other Saturday if things don't go to plan. We will see. But that is the plan for now. Fingers crossed I'll be able to stick to it. But I will see you in the next video.